welcome back to Seek the Joy podcast. Happy Seek the Joy Tuesday. I'm your host, Sydney Weiss, and guys, it has been a minute since I've done a solo episode, since it's been just you and me, and it's the last week of November, and I'm having a really hard time wrapping my head around the fact that 2019 is over in just about a blink of an eye. And not only is the year almost over, but this decade is almost over. And it's so interesting because, and I know I've said this before, but when we get to this time of the year, we tend to focus on reflections and resolutions and goals and dreams. And this year I've decided, instead of only focusing on those things, because yes, it's important to think about your dreams and your wishes and your goals and your next steps. And often to think about those three things means you have to spend time in reflection and thinking back and kind of taking making a laundry list of all the things you've done. And then of course, then we start to think about the things we haven't done. And I don't know about you, but it can be exhausting. So instead of only thinking about those things as we come to the end of this year, as we come to the end of this decade, I really want to think and focus and spend some time deeply rooted in gratitude. And I don't know about you, but gratitude is not always something that comes super easy for me. As someone who still struggles more often than I would like to probably admit with my own inner dialogue and that inner voice, that critic that comes out to play more often than I would really like for her to, turning to gratitude isn't always easy, because it is always easier, at least I have found, to focus on what's not going right, to play out in my mind the worst case scenario. But what I've found has been really important when I'm sort of stuck in those moments, those spiraling moments of anxiety of what's going to go wrong, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, how is this going to look, how is this going to feel? It's incorporating a practice of gratitude that's been a game changer. And it's so funny because if there's one daily ritual that guests on this show have stressed time and time again as being something that has just totally changed their overall perspective and well-being and brought more joy and fun and peace into their lives, it's gratitude and developing a gratitude list and making it part of their daily or weekly practice. So, me being me, I had to look up what gratitude actually means in the dictionary. And gratitude is defined as the quality of being thankful. It's a readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. Isn't that so interesting that gratitude and kindness go hand in hand? I think personally, it always starts with kindness towards ourselves, because when you're kind and compassionate and patient with yourself, when you're able to exercise greater self-love and greater self-kindness, it then spills over into greater kindness and compassion and patience and love for others. And no, we're not always going to be perfect at this. No, we're not always going to get it right. But if you can become mindful of your kindness and love to yourself, it spills over into kindness and love for others, which then by default spills over into more gratitude and more appreciation. And you're now suddenly seeing the good in all of your obstacles and challenges rather than focusing on the bad or getting stuck in this anxiety or even this overwhelm. And so speaking of overwhelm, this year has been overwhelming in both really beautiful and positive ways, but also in very negative and challenging ways. And so I have been really forcing myself, and emphasis on the word forcing, because like I've shared, gratitude has not come easy for me, especially as I get stuck in that anxiety and as I get stuck in that overwhelm. But I've been forcing myself to really spend a lot of time focusing on what's going right, focusing on the opportunity that's found in any given challenge, rather than focusing on all of the scenarios in which everything could go wrong. It's really cool and it's really interesting that there's so much positive psychology research out there that talks all about gratitude and the power of gratitude and the role that it plays in bringing about more joy and happiness into our lives. And here's the thing about gratitude that really got me when I really spent some time thinking about it. It is a perspective changer and an interrupter. Because think about it, when you are stuck in that anxiety and you're stuck in that overwhelm, or you're facing obstacles or challenges, or you just feel like you keep running your head into the wall, or doors keep getting slammed in your face, whatever it might be, because we've all been there and we've all experienced that. And chances are you might be experiencing that right now. When you take a moment to hit pause for yourself, and when you take a moment to reflect, and you focus on all of the good, when you focus on the things, the people, the places that you're grateful for, or even just spending some time thinking about the fact that, hey, I'm grateful for this challenge. Hey, I'm grateful for this lesson, this roadblock, this door slammed in my face, because I'm going to learn something from it. I'm going to grow. It's so funny. Our evolution, our growth doesn't always come from those easy moments, from when things go right. Yes, we learn a lot from that, and it's a victory, and it's a dance, and it's a celebration. But I have found that I have learned so much more about myself, so much more about who I am and who I want to be from the moments that have challenged me, that have forced me to continue to show up as the best version of me possible, even when I just wanted to stomp my feet and have a temper tantrum and cry. Because when you force yourself, when you learn to continue to just be who you are, to embody your own grace and embody your own gratitude and your own joy, despite everything that's going on around you, that's growth. That's evolution. So gratitude is a perspective changer, and it's an interrupter, because for me at least, and maybe for you too, it's required me to hit pause. It requires us to stop rushing through life in our day-to-day and really get quiet and really observe. Gratitude also allows for more goodness to come into our lives when we focus on it. It's this whole idea of an abundance mindset versus a lack mindset. If you're grateful for who you are and what you have and everything that's shown up in your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it allows for more goodness to come into your life because, as the great Oprah Winfrey even said herself, it raises your personal vibration. And I believe it, and I've been there. I have had so many days and moments this year where I just felt like absolutely nothing was going my way. And I was stressed and anxious and nervous, worried, maybe even a little bit paranoid at some times, but most of all, just not trusting. And in those moments where I lacked trust and I lacked faith and I lacked belief in who I was and my path and my journey, returning to gratitude lifted me up. So when you're in difficult moments, when you're in challenges, and even when you're in moments of joy and celebration, I challenge you to return to gratitude. Seriously. Because when we have an opportunity to remain in that abundance mindset rather than that lack mindset, everything changes. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have been the best at gratitude this year and that I've been the best at keeping and maintaining a gratitude list. Sometimes the gratitude list is something I write down in my journal. Other times it's something I reflect on in my mind. And other times it's something that I talk about and share in a conversation with a friend or my family. But gratitude is something that is really important and something that I want to continue coming back to and something that I want to challenge you to come back to too. So in this week's new episode, I wanted to share with you guys these reflections on gratitude and where my head's at with it, because I have a feeling you'll be able to relate and resonate. And that's what's always been so beautiful about these conversations and this community is that every time I think I'm alone in something, you guys reach out and let me know that it's something you're experiencing too. So I wanted to share these reflections on gratitude. I also wanted to share with you guys a gratitude checklist that I created this year. It's a template and you can download it directly from our website. So click on the show notes, the little link in the show notes. If you scroll down while you're listening or reading about this episode, click the link and it will take you right there to download the template. I also want to share with you guys a few tips and tricks of my own for starting to bring more gratitude into your life. So here we go. First tip. I think a routine is really important. And this year and this season especially, I'm really committed to making gratitude more of a daily habit, more of a daily practice. And so I personally recommend investing in a journal that you love. Make it personal, decorate the cover, get it embroidered, whatever feels good for you, and then put it in a place so that you'll always see it, whether that's by your bed or in your work bag, wherever feels good to you. I have found that just seeing your gratitude list or journal will inspire you to pick it up, I promise. But one note I really want to share about routines in general. They're not for everyone. And there have been seasons in my life where I've had a consistent routine and then months where I don't have one at all. And this year especially, I have found I have not had much of a routine, and it has really served me because routines are starting to give me more anxiety than anything. But in the moments and in the seasons of my life where routine has really served me, I found that making a plan to write at a certain time of the day or on a specific day of the week is really helpful and really powerful. And what's so cool is that eventually this routine or this habit or this practice becomes something that you look forward to. And here's the thing, when you no longer look forward to it, stop doing it and try something new. Okay, tip number 2, don't stress. Seriously, don't stress. Take the pressure off. Take the stakes out. Something that someone shared with me that has always been so powerful is take the stakes out. It's not that big of a deal. So don't stress. Instead of stressing out about your gratitude list or making time to reflect on gratitude, if you don't know what to write or where to begin, just pick a comfortable spot and close your eyes. I've always found that doing that and then taking 3 deep breaths and thinking about what I'm thankful for has really been helpful. Start with one thing. Start with, I'm grateful for the sun shining. I'm grateful for my breath today. Whatever it might be, and then build on it. If you can't think of more than one thing to be grateful for, that's okay. Just start where you are. That's another great tip I received. Start where you are. Also, on the days where being thankful feels like a hell no, because if you're anything like me and you're stuck in that anxiety and that overwhelm, the last thing you want to do is actually focus on gratitude. When you're in moments like that, just start by writing this down. I'm grateful for my gratitude list. Yeah, it kind of sounds silly, I know, but it works. It's about giving yourself the space to think, feel, and connect. Okay. Tip number 3, write by hand. My handwriting is the worst, by the way. It has totally taken a nosedive in the last couple of years. It's not cute at all, but there's something really powerful and thoughtful about writing your list and journaling in general by hand as opposed to typing. I have found that it creates a deeper connection to whatever it is that I'm writing down, whatever it is that I'm sharing. So give it a try. I promise the experience of writing by hand won't disappoint. And if anything, it's a great opportunity to laugh at your own handwriting. But also, on the same note, I don't always have my journal with me. And so in those moments where I want to practice gratitude or journaling in general, and I don't want to wait to have the opportunity to pull out my journal, I just grab my cell phone because my iPhone is always with me anyway, and I take out the notes app and I just write a few things down there. I love doing that too, so that's always an option. Okay, last thing. This isn't really a tip or a trick, but if you're not really sure where to start with gratitude or where to start with your gratitude list, here are a couple of things on my list that will hopefully get the juices flowing a little bit. So, okay, I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful for fresh fruit at lunch today. I'm grateful that I was able to eat 3 meals today. I'm grateful for the deep breaths I can take when I'm stressed and overwhelmed. I'm grateful for the ability to create and produce work that is impacting others in a positive and kind way. My hope with this week's episode, and by sharing just my reflections on gratitude and my template and these tips and tricks, my hope in general is just to inspire you to consider the role of gratitude in your life. It sounds so corny and so cheesy, but it is so true. An attitude of gratitude is linked to better health, less anxiety, and overall more joy. It improves your life. It improves your overall well-being. But the reality of all of this, for so many of us, is that gratitude can be a tough muscle to build. We all experience stress and worry and anxiety, overwhelming to-do lists, personal and professional relationships that aren't always easy to navigate, especially this time of the year. I mean, the list goes on. And so it can be difficult to find and connect to things that spark those feelings of thankfulness and gratitude. So my hope and my wish for you is that no matter what's going on in your life, I hope you know and remember that you're always seen and you're always heard. But even more than that, there's something to hold on to, a little nugget of gratitude and thankfulness and inspiration. Gratitude is everywhere. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that we just have to choose to see it and to hold on to it. The more that I reflect on gratitude, the more I realize that it's deeply rooted in trust. And so the more that we focus on gratitude, the more it shows up in our lives and the more we can build that muscle. And so yes, an abundance mindset totally creates more abundance. And gratitude is a gift. And it's up to us to choose it, even in those moments of doubt, even in those moments of unknown and overwhelm and anxiety. And so I would love to hear what you're grateful for in this holiday season, but in life in general, what you're manifesting, what you want to bring into your life in this new decade in 2020, and just really the impact that spending some time in gratitude has had on your life. So make sure to join the conversation on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We are at Seek the Joy Podcast everywhere. And thank you guys for being part of this show. There are just two more things I want to say before we wrap up. Recently, Seek the Joy Podcast was nominated for the People's Choice Award for the 2019 Discover Pod Awards. And I was so excited and overwhelmed that we were nominated. And while we did not win, in my heart, we totally did. To be a finalist, to be recognized in that way is so cool. And it wouldn't have been possible without all of you and everyone that voted for the show and continues to tune in and week out. I am so grateful for your support of not only the podcast, but also of me. So if there's someone out there that you know would love Seek the Joy Podcast and connect to its message and its mission, I would be so grateful if you shared the podcast. Don't forget, you can leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or really wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Take a screenshot of your review and send it to me, Sydney at seekthejoypodcast.com. I will send you our guide for infusing more joy into your life, and it's such a great way for us to connect outside of the show. And I think that's it. We've just got a couple more episodes left for the year. I'm so happy to do this. I'm so happy to share with you guys the role of gratitude in my life. And it's a muscle I'm still building. And I know it's one that you're working on too. So wishing you guys just a happy holidays and many moments spent in gratitude and reflection. And I'll see you guys right back here next week for another Seek the Joy Tuesday.